Hey lovely people, so today is the day we are going to be live with our homeschool Q&A. It is going to be on my Instagram, so if you are not following me, please go follow me, Everything Noble. And I have a special guest, so don't miss. And we're going to, explore some of the questions that some of you have asked me and just share in general, why we went on this journey of homeschooling. So if you're interested in something like this, I'll advise you go set a reminder somewhere or go follow me, put on the notification, whatever. Do not miss. But if you miss, it will still be up on my Instagram page. I might load it here as well, so that you go and watch it whenever you are available too. Today, I also want to give you a kind of review of classical conversation. So for those of you who don't know, classical conversation is kind of like a homeschool co-op collaboration school where we have community day, where we kind of like go through. There's an instructor who is teaching the parents what they should be generally going through with the kids during the week. And I think what I loved most about the community day was it was more of us coming together and, encouraging each other and all of that. And of course, the guidance on what to do was a plus. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was just the gathering of all of us, knowing that we have the same mind and we kind of on the same journey. But here's the real review, okay? Before I go on anything, I try to look into the hard parts, or the parts that are like, that's just how my brain works. I know it's gonna be good, just tell me the hard parts. So when I was going to start classical conversation, I did some research, YouTube videos, watch a couple of people who have done it and are quitting because that's what I searched for. And most of the things that I came across, especially from African Americans, was that it was kind of racist, or it was not inclusive, especially when it comes to Black people, our community, and all of that. The truth, though, is that, like, in my experience, most of the time when African Americans will talk about something that is like, oh, is racism or whatever, I, as an African who was born in Africa, cannot relate. Not that they are not telling the truth, but the fact that we have gone through similar things back home, and it was among us, our people, same color. So I see those things as challenges, gaps, ignorance, but it's not really like, or even hate, but it's not really like it is just because of this person wants to do this to me. So when I heard that from a lot of the reviews and why people were quitting, I was like, oh, that's something I can handle. Well, it came the time that I registered, I got in. It can be hard to get in. I was on a waiting list, and thankfully I got in. And I love the community. Like, it was everything I was looking for. It can get a little bit intense because, of course, it's like you school kind of. So you have the moms that are like very zealous. They want their kids to memorize things. They are very good at those. My class was a little bit chilled out, but and as a person who is a little bit, let me not out myself here, but sometimes I'll feel like a little bit intimidated, but I knew definitely that it was just me because the community was phenomenal. We had weekend retreats. It is the one thing that I'm so going to miss. The fact that it was Christian based, so it's not like I have to fight. I really enjoy other co-ops, but when it's not Christ-centered, it's like some days I just want to be in an environment where, like those days where you are drowning and you don't even have the courage to even open the Bible. Not the courage, like the strength to even open the Bible or whatever. You just want somebody to hit you with the word of God. I won't get that in a secular co-op, I love affirmation, but unfortunately, I need the Holy Spirit, And so this was all around, good in terms of that. The other thing that I loved about it is the fact that it fit kind of the style of homeschooling I was going for. So a lot of people have different ways of homeschooling. Some people will go strictly according to how the public school is, just that they do it at home because of the, all the things that go on in the schools, the bullying, so many things that I can't even talk about here. Like children are exposed to things that they shouldn't be exposed to at their age. Kids come home and be like, "Mommy, what does BITCH?" All those things. So their parents were like, "I am okay with the curriculum at the public school. I just don't want my child to be in that environment yet." So they homeschool. And then there are parents that are like, the whole, curriculum is just too stressful and it doesn't fit my child. And so they look for something that fits their child. So people do it differently. And for me, at the age that my kids were, we are at the age of just having fun. We do trips, a lot of trips. We learn based on interest. Okay, spring. Do you guys see the birds out there? Oh, maybe we should read about birds. And, whatever they're talking about, we kind of like extend it. No, I don't do that homeschool mom thing where everything the child says becomes a curriculum. No, but you kind of get it. So it's like more interest based. And then there are things where it's like structured, like math, English, because Isabel also wants to read. So we started like reading, so mine is very laid back. And I think as we grow, it's going to be more structured, but for right now, it's really laid back. So the way the classical conversation is set up, you are really able, it's almost like you can unschool and still be there. So when it comes to history and those facts, memorization, we are there for it, and she enjoys it. I was like, what is all this? Like so much talking and singing, but she enjoyed it. And it's just one day out of the week. And when they came home, she decides to do it or not. And I was okay with it because it was more like foundation. It was like a game for her. And I have no complaint. It fit well into the style that I was using to homeschool. And so two things I love: the community, the like-mindedness, and then how it's easy for you to just include it in the way you homeschool, how it fit into any style of homeschooling, because it was not like go this way. Not really. You can choose to use other books and all that. And because of the cost, it was easy for me to just be like, oh, okay, even if it ends up not working, it's not so much investment like other places. I didn't want to, because of the kind of person I am, I wanted to be part of something that will hold me accountable and will help me walk in where I want to go, So it really was good for me. I enjoyed it. But here is the part that I was like, I can do this. I can do this. No, it's not because the curriculum was racist. We will talk about that in the end. But it was the overstimulation when I was there. Staying in that class, I wish we would do some of the things outside, but maybe we disturb the other students while they're in class or distract them. But stay, because you have to be in the class with your child. So being in that class with my child for 3 hours, all the chanting, all the things, and it was just too much for me. To the extent that when we come home, I don't want her to put on, I don't want to hear it. And you have to practice with them. People are like, we played in our car. There was no way I was going to play that thing in my car. Because after that class, I feel like I need a year off from whatever was going on there. And so, of course, as I've learned about my brain and everything, I knew what was going on. And I was like, I love this whole classical conversation, the idea behind it, but I can't stay in the class like that, So I started looking for the kind that you drop the child off. You will be on campus, but not in the class. And those were like twice a week. But that was also like very, very long. It's from 8:30 to like 3:30, and I was like, what would they be doing 8:30 to 3:30? I don't want. Isabel can do that, but Judah definitely can. Judah is 3.5. So I was in the middle, but I was told that the kids for preschool it was chilled, it was laid back. When we were doing classical conversation, Judah was not part of it. They were in the baby class where they just played. So it was just Isabel. Classical conversation, you start at 4-year-old. That is your choice anyway. It's not a must. So even for Judah turning 4, I decided that I was not going to let him start. I'll let him start when he was turning 5 because of how his date of birth is set up. But anyway, that being said, the overstimulation was what I could not stand. I didn't know how to cope. So I was like, I can't do this. I have to find another way to do this. I love other co-ops around here. There are many co-ops around where I am that are Christian, Christ-centered. But for most of them, you have to teach. I can't do this. For most of them, you have to teach. I'm not there yet. It's a collaboration, so everybody brings something. I don't mind teaching my child, but I don't think I'm ready to teach other kids. Maybe it's just fear, but I'm just not there yet. So that's one thing that have stopped me from joining other co-ops. But then there's also another option where the child goes for 2 days. You don't have to be on campus. And that's they call it the university model. That's also an option if you want to like have some days off, have some days on campus. There's that option as well. Second Baptist has that option, the university model. And so what we have decided, really, we didn't decide. So in the end, I actually found ways where I could cope in the class, like wearing ear loops, which sometimes I feel like won't it look rude to the teacher, the instructor? Like, but you can still hear it with the ear loops. You can. I don't even enjoy that ear loop because it sounds really funny in my ears. I'm like, what kind of technology did they use? I don't want to have headaches. I don't want to have any impact later on. But you can still hear. So I was like, maybe if it comes to it, if push comes to shovel, I'll probably have to use that. Put in my ear, and it will probably, make the noise a little bit not too sharp, and I could cope. I was also thinking of taking lots of breaks when I was there. Or maybe take a book and read or write, maybe in a journal while everything is going on. Because you're really not actively participating. You are just making sure your child is doing well. You are looking at what the teacher is doing. Like I said, the main thing for me is the community where we come back and we are like, oh, this week, it's beautiful. And I enjoy that as well. With a part of the racism, I think most people are referring to the fact that where are the Black artists? So a lot of the people, the history, the people we are studying, the artists we are following are from Europe. It's very Eurocentric, like the people that we are looking up to and all that. So for some people, it's like, especially with everything that has been going on, But my thing is that like when I take my child outside for like immersion, like to do some classes and stuff like that, that is not my homeschooling. Like it's just a tool I'm using. It's just a resource. It's just a assistance. That doesn't define my whole homeschooling, and it doesn't have to give me everything I need. I don't know if I'm making sense. And I'm not expecting every curriculum to have everything I need. So long as it's not intentionally abusing me or intentionally leaving me out, but it's just like, this is what these people knew, or this is how far they could. Do you know how much, like even doing a YouTube video, do you know how much goes into it? So imagine somebody writing a curriculum. It's a lot of work, and they did the best they could. I was telling Chris that the history for the classical conversation ends in 2001. Like a lot of things have happened after that. But then that's where you come in as a parent. What are you going to supplement and all that? So I'm not expecting a resource or a tool I use to have everything I need. What will determine whether I use it is how much it's costing me. And I'm like, okay, if I'm paying this, then you have to provide me all of this. But with classical conversation, I think the contribution is not so much that you feel like, I see it more as a guidance, and you can do whatever you want in that scope, especially for me where like this is like a seriously first generation thing. I've never seen anyone homeschool. Nobody has homeschool where I come from. And so it's like, well, they used to homeschool back in the days before, there wasn't always like brick and mortar classrooms, right? You know that, right? Because school started when they wanted to like have organized, to indoctrinate and to teach people like, don't take this culture, teach the slaves and all those things. We'll talk about that in another video, but yeah. So, but then like in my time, I've never seen anyone homeschool. The system is still in me and all of that. And so I needed that kind of like, more like something to structure, something to help me on my journey. There are people who don't use any curriculum. They just wake up, they pull unit studies and they are good. I think we are there right now, but in the future, we will be like more structured. I am not really like big on this is what I'm doing. You can homeschool, you can world school, you can farm school, you can in your room school. It doesn't matter if that is your life, then that's what you're passing down to your children. So homeschool really is what you make it. Well, after I decided that I can cope in the class, let's go back to the story. I can stay in the class. I thought of applying, but I'm being told that, oh, well, you had your chance. Now we have people come in, take your place, and there's actually a wait list. So because of that, it's like, the application is kind of like hefty a bit. There are so many things you have to pay. And so I'm like, if I pay all this and I don't get in, and there's no refund for the application. So I'm like, maybe we should just take a break. Friday, another problem that we also used to have was that we used to take trips on weekends. So we like Friday we'll go, come back Sunday, like short trips, or Thursday. So it was very hard because the community day was on Friday. There are other campuses that have community day on different days, but I love this campus so much. So I don't know. I've also been wanting to just, chill more, even though the classical conversation, like where we are and the community we are in, is really laid back. Do what you want. We meet and then we just go over the topics that we are doing. I still kind of feel like you're not doing so much. Like I still have that thing. It's not really strong. And so I'm like, I don't want to be in a group where it's like I'm not participating. So that's also, it's not the main reason, but it's also one of the reasons I'm like, why? If I'm going to do it that laid back, at least I've seen 1 year of classical conversation. I can incorporate it at home. I don't have to be part of the group. But I'm going to miss the community so much. So much. So in all, really, I loved classical conversation. The fact that they didn't include many things about Africa, African leaders or artists and people to follow, or inventors, whatever. People to follow. I'm okay with that. I can supplement that, and I'm not expecting a curriculum to fit all my needs. I am the boss. So, well, yeah, that is my review of classical conversation. We loved it. We loved the curriculum. We loved the idea behind it. We love the people so much. I am going to miss those women and men. Yeah, men, we had fathers coming there. So yeah, I will see you later today. If you make it to the live Instagram homeschool Q&A, especially for those of you back home in Africa asking me about homeschooling and what do I teach. I'm not a teacher. Please come. Do come, okay? It's going to be in South African time, it's going to be around 10 p.m. Nigerian time is going to be around 9 p.m. Ghana time is going to be 8 p.m. American time is going to be 3 p.m. Central time. So just take one time and convert it to your whatever zone you are in. So it is 3 p.m. Central time. See you. Bye-bye.